welcome to a live stream for Gameweek 27. And yeah, Gameweek 26 went pretty well overall, but obviously everyone had such high expectations because it was the biggest double game week of the season. People were expecting 120 points or more, and of course it did happen for some people, but it wasn't as frequent as probably we expected. But in terms of me personally, my overall rank went up quite significantly. I was around 150k last week and went up into the top 100k yet again, so very happy with that. And yeah, just the week before that, I think I was around 190. So steady progress. Of course, I did use my bench boost chip. So just to show you lot how I ended up doing, my bench boost was salvaged by Digne. Now, yeah, pretty much. Obviously, a lot of my players did blank, even the double game week players like Salah and Bruno, who I did captain. So that was a captaincy fail. But to get 102 points, basically, I can't really complain. And obviously, if I did have a wild card, or I do have a wild card, but if I use my wild card in preparation for this bench boost, then I wouldn't have had Pope, and I probably would have gotten rid of some of the other players. Barnes was very unlucky. I think if he had played, he could have gotten some returns, even double digits. But it is what it is. Still happy with my team overall, and it's looking pretty good. I did take a -4 going into next week, and this is how I am looking. And I know it sounds really stupid, and I'll be explaining why, but I brought in Lewis Dunk and Lingard for Wan-Bissaka and Harvey Barnes. So they may seem like really weird transfers, but I've got Game Week 29 in mind. It's not like I really expect Lewis Dunk to get a clean sheet or anything against Leicester, but I will be talking about Brighton and Leicester specifically very soon. But let me go through your questions and for your comments. Thank you everyone who has joined in. Welcome home, sweet home. Good morning to you as well. Argowal says, hey man, how are you doing? Gundogan captain. To be honest, if I was assured that everyone from City had the same amount of minutes, I probably would go for Cancelo, but because I'm a bit more confident about Gundogan starting both games, I'm going to go for him. He's going to be I'm pretty sure his effective ownership is going to be well over 100%. He's going to be the most captain player this week, if not one of the most. So yeah, that is a bit of a shame. But the rest he got recently against Wolves, I think that does kind of boost his case in terms of captaincy. And he did get an assist there, did more than Sterling in just around, 10 minutes. So pretty happy with that. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Obviously, everyone's going to be saying now with Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan's efficiency and his points tallies, they're not going to be as high. But there was a long period where KDB was in the team and Gundogan was getting a lot of points. But if you remember, there was a spell of 2 free games against Liverpool and Spurs where Gundogan was unplayable and he got double digits in both. I don't think that's going to happen, and I said that before De Bruyne returned. I thought that his return will kind of just spell a decrease, but not enough to pretty much, I'd say, sell Gundogan outright. But yeah, I'd say it's still a good captaincy option. Should I bench Bruno for Dallas or Digne? Ridiculous to think, but it may be a 0-0 again in the Manchester derby. Yeah, I get what you mean, but when you look at Dallas and Digne, I mean, I got both of them on my bench right now, and I don't feel particularly comfortable. But you look at their fixtures, I don't really expect clean sheets for either of them. Digne is probably more likely to get a clean sheet, but then again, you're not too sure there. Bruno's got a higher ceiling, and it just takes a penalty or something, or even a jammy assist, just to get those points. And I don't know, he's never blanked 3 times in a row. This could be the first time. It's pretty likely, but I don't know, if everyone gets rid of him or a lot of people get rid of him or bench him, it just seems like this could be the week where he finally does something against the top 6. But it's partly to do with him, but also with how United set up. So I think United will just go in hoping for a 0-0, maybe just to snatch something on the counter-attack. But they have caused City problems over the years, especially at the Etihad. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes I'm not too sure about. Obviously, I did have a choice of taking a -4 to get Kane in and Lingard for Bruno. And Calvert-Lewin, but it would have made me weaker going into Game Week 28. So that's why I didn't do it. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes, there's a case for selling him right now, but I would want him back even for Game Week 28 and 30. But that's a different story in itself. Any suggestions on my squad? Martinez, Target, Stones, Diaz, Salah, Bruno, Gundogan, Lingard, Son, Antonio Watkins, DCL. Yeah, that looks pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, that looks solid. Yeah, Lingard is obviously the most heavily transferred in player this week, and I've got him in. Obviously, the lower owned he is, obviously the better for me. But yeah, I think Lingard could do really well. Just the way he leads play, and I think Lingard could do really well in this game. Obviously, bear in mind for anyone who has brought in Lingard, and I knew this before getting him in, he's not going to play against Manchester United in Game Week 28. So if you have a good enough squad, then it might be worth bringing him in because he also has that fixture in 29. But just bear in mind that he's not going to have that fixture. Whom to captain, KDB or Gundogan? Have both. I probably would go for KDB, but I don't know. The problem with Kevin De Bruyne is he might get rested in one of these games because he already just played 90 minutes back to back. So there is a possibility that he is rested, probably higher than Gundogan. But if they both play the same amount of minutes, I'd probably still go for Kevin De Bruyne. When they're both on the pitch, De Bruyne has better stats in pretty much every department. So I'd probably go for him. Lingard and Kane in for Fernandes and DCL for a -4. Yeah, Marcus, that's exactly what I could have done, which is what I just described. The reason why I didn't go for it in the end is because my team would have been weaker in 28. I think Bruno's one of the best captaincy options in 28, and DCL could have a double, although it's pretty unlikely now. It's probably going to be moved to, Game Week 30 or something like that. But he's still got a good fixture nonetheless. The problem with Calvert-Lewin is he's being shifted to the right, and Richarlison is now the Everton asset to own up front. So, yeah, I'm going to get rid of Calvert-Lewin anyway, and probably Salah going into Game Week 29 with 2 free transfers, getting in Rafinha and Kane. But yeah, I'd say go for it if you have a good enough squad in 28. Otherwise, maybe just reconsider that because they're 2 good players for 28, and even for 30, to be honest. Hey Dylan, who should I play, Shaw or Bruno? That's a great question. I think Shaw is more likely to get 6 points or something, but I'd probably go for Bruno because of the higher ceiling. But I'll be honest, I think both of them will blank. Obviously, you never know. But yeah, it's a tough one. Worth bringing Mahrez in for a -4. Is he nailed on to start both the games? Not for me because, he's been fantastic in the last 4, but the fact that he started 4 games in a row and his form has been exceptional, he might be rested for the Champions League. And also I don't see Mahrez starting 5-6 games in a row. I could be wrong. Back your gut on that one. But taking a -4 on a player who tends to, be streaky, and then he can still be benched even during one of his streaky runs. I'm just not sold on that at the moment. But of course, he's a great differential. He was one of the best players in Game Week 26, but I'm not too sure about, taking a -4 for him. Stones and Fernandes out for KDB and Dunk, asks William. Yeah, not for me, because you're getting rid of Stones, who, although I think he'll be benched in one of the games, I would still want him. He's a double Game Week legend at this point. And Bruno Fernandes is a great option in 28, so I wouldn't do that personally. I get the logic, but I wouldn't do it. Start 2 of Bamford, Rafinha and Konsa. That's a tough one. I'd probably just start Bamford and Rafinha, but yeah, Konsa could keep a clean sheet against Wolves. Yeah, that's a tough one. I wouldn't want to bench either Bamford or Rafinha, although West Ham are very good defensively, I would say that. Morning, Dylan. Hope you are well. Who are good options to replace Barnes for now? And when are you thinking of triple captaining? Yeah, in terms of... good morning to you as well, Mickey. Thank you for joining in. In terms of replacements for Barnes, I'd say looking to Game Week 29, definitely Rafinha if you don't have him already. The reason why I didn't go for him yet is because I backed Lingard and West Ham more than Leeds and Rafinha for this fixture. And also Rafinha does have Chelsea next. I know Lingard doesn't have a fixture next week because of the, that rule that he has. But I can just get in Lingard ahead of, or should I say Rafinha ahead of Game Week 29. But I'd say Rafinha, Lingard... I'd still say Saka, although there is a chance of him being rotated. That's the problem with him. But I'd still say him. And if you don't have him already, Gundogan. But yeah, those are the type of players I would be looking at. I wouldn't be, overthinking and looking at different options from everywhere. Obviously, people will do a natural kind of switch from Barnes to Tielemans. I just don't see it. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, those players I said definitely. Should I do Cancelo plus Fernandes to White and KDB captain? Asked Jonathan. No, because you're getting rid of Cancelo, who could play in both of them. It is possible. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Obviously, I get it. You probably already have Triple City. It allows you to get Kevin De Bruyne and you captain him. You get a blank Game Week 29 player. I probably wouldn't, but obviously back your gut on that one. Getting rid of Bruno is perfectly fine at the moment, I think. Or he could do something, but, a lot of players like Kane and De Bruyne probably will outscore him over the next few. Diaz or Cancelo captain? Normally, I'd probably say Diaz because he's more likely to start, but he might be benched in one of these games. I don't know. I'd go for Cancelo, but yeah, there's not much in that, to be honest. Diaz is more likely to start overall, but you never know. Is a hit for Dallas to Rudiger worth it? Not for me, Upper Man. I just get Rudiger in next week because he's facing Everton as well. So there is a chance that it could be a 1-1 or something, or Everton sneak a goal or two in any way, even if they lose. So I wouldn't do that. Whom to play between Lloris and Martinez? Good question. I'd probably play Lloris, but that's a tough one. Spurs are very poor defensively. Villa haven't been what they were before, but yeah, I'd probably go for Lloris. Hey Dylan, would you take a hit for Barnes out or bench him for a week and reevaluate next week? Have Son, Rafinha, Gundogan, Salah? It depends on your team situation, Marco. In my case, I took a -4, but the reason why I took a -4 is just in preparation for Blank Gameweek 29 to get into Blank Gameweek 29 players. And yeah, I really like Lingard for this fixture. So you could take a -4 maybe to get in Lingard. Yeah, you don't have him, so you could do that, but I think waiting for next week, if you already have enough players for 29 and then reassessing, I think that's probably the best case. But in my case, obviously, it was different. That's why I did what I did. But yeah, it's definitely perfectly fine to do that. But yeah. Dallas or Burn, who to play? I'd probably play Burn in that case. He's more likely to get a clean sheet. With Dallas, with him, you're mainly relying on attacking returns. I do think West Ham will score. I'd be surprised if they don't. Morning to you as well, Chris El Famoso. I got 148 points from the bench boost and ranked 835th in the world from this game week. That's pretty good, Zitzi. And yeah, some crazy scores this week, but not as frequent as probably people expected. A lot of people were aiming for 100 points at least, and they didn't even get that. So to have a score like that is very, very good. What was your transfers this week? So yeah, I made 2 transfers. I got in Lewis Dunk and Lingard. In for Wan-Bissaka and Barnes. Not usually transfers I would make. The 2 differentials. Lingard's owned by 8% of the game right now, and Dunk is owned by 6%. The reason why I went for them is because of Blank Gameweek 29, preparing for that, and now my plans going into 29 is to just save my transfers, and then I can make 2 of them, and I can get Kane in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and probably Rafinha in for Salah. So that's the plan at the moment, and yeah, the -4 is just to accelerate that. And the reason why I didn't go the other way around and get Kane in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and get rid of Bruno, for example, is because I would be worse off in Game Week 28, where I'd probably be forced to play the likes of Rafinha and stuff like that. So yeah, it didn't sit right with me in my opinion, but yeah. What do you think of Saka as a Barnes replacement? I mean, I just mentioned him now in terms of best Barnes replacements to a question by Marcus, I believe. I think he's one of the best ones. However, around this price, I still prefer Rafinha and even Lingard at the moment. And there is the possibility of a rotation with Pepe, with Willian, and yeah, with the Europa League. That's going to be prioritised by Arsenal and Arteta. So I would be wary with Saka. Although, obviously, from Arsenal, he's probably the standout pick, no doubt about it. He is their best player right now. So Karan says, just tuned in. Please, mate, I'm in a huge dilemma about who to captain, by the way, Gundogan and KDB. I'd back your gut on that one. I'd go for, look, if you think both of them are going to start an equal amount of minutes or quite similar, I'd go for KDB. The reason why, obviously, Gundogan's probably safer is because he just got a rest and he's more likely to start both. But yeah, I think you can't go wrong with either one of them. KDB is more of a differential. That's what I like about it. And in terms of City attackers, he's the most nailed by far. So yeah, I'd go for KDB, but there is a slight risk of him being rotated in one of these games, probably more so than Gundogan, but obviously it's at your own risk, it's your opinion, and it's up to you who you captain in the end. Start DCL or Bamford, and Dallas or Shaw? I'd probably start Dallas over Shaw, and I'd probably start Bamford, yeah, FPL Gold. Start one of Rafinha, DCL, Shaw, or Rudiger. I'd probably start Rudiger, but Rafinha, benching him, I don't know. I would like to, if I had him, I would be playing him this week. Let's put it that way. Thanks for your suggestions. I got 113 points last week, bench boost. That's really good, home sweet home. And yeah, bench boost, I mean, I'm not sure, I didn't check the statistics, but it seemed like the most successful chip overall. Triple captaincy, a lot of people did it on Kane. It wasn't bad, obviously, 8 points, but he really should have got more from that. So yeah, sometimes, it doesn't play out the way we expect. I mean, obviously I got a good amount of points and I got a decent bench boost, but obviously with the Barnes injury and stuff like that, it could have been more. But sometimes it's just outside our control. Thoughts on benching Fernandes and DCL for Rafinha and holding? I'm not sure. I wouldn't bench Fernandes for holding, for example. Starting Rafinha, fair enough. I completely understand that. And even Calvert-Lewin, he hasn't blanked against the top 6 this season, and he's been pretty good. But it's just his recent form, his recent position. Richarlison seems to be the talisman right now. So I get that, but even Bruno, I would start him over holding. Obviously, I get your logic. Holding's more likely to get 6 points. but I don't know about that one. Is it worth keeping Rashford and playing him this week, or is there any other good options at that higher price for this week and beyond? Maybe Lingard, that will be a downgrade though, asks Aranya. Yeah, I mean, Rashford, when United do something against City, it tends to be Rashford who is the one orchestrating things, but I'd probably keep him for now. Like, I wouldn't take a hit to get rid of him, if you know what I mean. But obviously, I get your logic. I'd probably just get Lingard in my opinion. I know it might seem like a downgrade. You have too much money in your bank, but you're getting an extra player for Game Week 29, especially if you're not free hitting there. So I'd probably, get someone like Lingard in, but obviously it can go either way. Welcome, Wanja. Good morning. Thanks for the suggestions. No problem. Anytime. First substitute, Dallas or DCL? I'd probably go for DCL at Parva. And as you can see here from my bench, I've got Calvert-Lewin first and I've got Dallas second. So, that shows you my opinion on the matter. Bench Rashford or DCL? That's a tough one. I'd probably start DCL over Rashford, but that's only because of how good City are defensively and also because of United's approach in the big games. But yeah, that's a tough one. Would it be better now to Game Week 29 to sell Fernandes for Son or sell Salah or sell both and get Son and Albert or Lingard, etc.? Or for this Game Week, is Son more priority than Bruno, or do a defensive transfer instead? That's a lot of ors, to be honest. But I think, yeah, if you don't have Son already, I'd definitely get him in no matter what. I'm not sure about Aubameyang. For this week, obviously he's a really good punt. I think he could do really well. He's got a great record against Burnley. But even in Game Week 29 and you look at Game Week 28, I'm not so sure he's going to score that highly, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, obviously it could be a good punt over the next three. You never know. It's just mainly this fixture you want to be targeting. But Son, I'd definitely get him in no matter what. So that would be my advice. Get Son in. What are the players on your bench, bro? I mean, you can see them right here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can see them on screen. Calvert-Lewin, Dallas and Digne on the bench, and Pope as well. Man United 1-0 win with Bruno penalty would be beautiful. I mean, oddly enough, I wouldn't mind it too much because obviously I get points from that. A lot of people will be benching Bruno. But then again, I don't know. He's still 60% owned. A lot of people will do that. So, you know what? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Captain KDB or Gundogan? Probably. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I'd probably captain KDB if I had him, but I'm not so sure if he starts both games. That's simply my answer for that. Whom to play between Soyuncu and Aina? Wait, let me check. Who do Fulham play again? They play Liverpool. Yeah. I mean, Liverpool have been poor recently, to be honest, but yeah, I'd just play Soyuncu, in my opinion. Start two of Watkins, Bamford, Antonio. I'd start Bamford. Yeah, definitely Antonio. Start Antonio, and I'd probably start Bamford. DCL or Bamford, I'd start Bamford. Son or Kane, or either one. I mean, for this week, I'm not sure. I mean, I prefer Son overall because of his price and I think recently just his assist potential as well. But yeah, I'm aiming to have both in my team for Game Week 29. Just let's put it that way. McCarthy or Areola? I'd probably go for McCarthy because of the double and Sheffield United. That could be a clean sheet, but I don't rate Southampton. Thoughts on Matt Target? He's still a good option, but I think Martinez is enough for Villa defence. If you already have him, I wouldn't double up on their defence. Obviously, they did do well in Game Week 26, more or less, but yeah, I think one's enough. Fernandes plus Barnes for Son and Lingard. Yeah, that looks good. That makes sense, William. I'd probably go for that. Welcome, Mantra. Been a long time. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, FPL Gold, and good luck to you as well. Start three of DCL, Digne, Dallas, Bamford, and Rafinha. Asked the Flying Dutchman. Great name. I would start Bamford, Rafinha for sure, and it'd probably be DCL. Yeah. Everton have looked really strong defensively in the last three games, and Pickford seems very on form. Who do I start, Digne or DCL against a strong Chelsea defence? And what are your thoughts on what Ancelotti said? Mind games. Yeah, Dylan. I get your point about Digne, and he did really well for me on my bench boost. But I mean, look, for example, I know it's different circumstances, but last year Everton went to the Bridge and they lost 4-0, and I know Chelsea aren't free scoring, but I do expect them to score a goal or two. So the likelihood of a clean sheet, although it's probably more likely than Dallas against West Ham, I'm just not so sure. I get your logic with that. Maybe Digne is probably better to start than Calvert-Lewin, but I don't know. The problem with Calvert-Lewin is if he plays his normal role, like he did against Manchester United and stuff like that, then he could easily haul in this game. He's got a great record against the top six this season. That's the problem. But yeah, obviously logic tells you that Digne is more likely to get 6 points. Chelsea's defence is very good. It's going to be hard for anyone from Everton to get past it. at least on paper. So yeah, Digne might be the better pick, but I just think Calvert-Lewin maybe is more explosive. Maybe Digne's ceiling is 5-6 points unless he gets bonus. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it. Son scored 4 goals in the last 3 home matches against Palace. Yeah, that's what I mean, Flying Dutchman. For this week, oddly enough, I actually think Son could outscore Kane yet again. So, but yeah, obviously, if you have both of them, you're kind of well covered, to be honest. Hey Dylan, great score last week. Would you bring in Antonio for DCL for a -4? Ooh, leaning on keeping DCL in case they get a double game week before 29. Yeah, I get the logic of taking a -4 for Antonio. But yeah, I think the likelihood of a double in 28, it has to basically be announced before Wednesday. Otherwise, it's probably not happening. If not, it could be moved maybe to game week 30. That's the problem with Calvert-Lewin. So yeah, taking a hit for Antonio does make sense. But I'm not sure if they're going to get a double in 28. First sub, DCL or Shaw? I'd probably say DCL, Kobe. Stones for Region, a game week 29 player in, and you free up space for double attack later, and there's rotation risk with Stones. I wouldn't do it personally because Stones has been so good either with clean sheets, assists, or goals in double game weeks. Obviously, on a wildcard or long term, I'm looking to get rid of Stones, but I wouldn't get rid of him right now. Obviously, I get getting Region in, it makes sense, but he's a rotation risk himself. I mean, just look at what happened against Fulham. He got rotated randomly. The Europa League is going to come into play, so maybe in game week 28 or 29, he's going to be rested, and that's what you got him in for. So I just, I wouldn't be too optimistic on Region. There is a reason why Spurs defenders aren't so attractive, apart from obviously, their defense being pretty poor. Morning. Shall I put Dallas, Digne, or Shaw in? Thanks. Good morning to you as well, Roshni. I'd probably put Dallas, but it's a very tough one between all three. Thank you, Chris Alfamoso, once again. What do you think about bringing Jota for Barnes? With the amount of injuries Liverpool have, they may play 4 attackers as they used to. Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously, sometimes when a player just returns from injury, it's very easy to be cautious. But then again, if you're early, if you get him in right now and he does really well, you're really early and you obviously gain ground on people who will then bring him in subsequently. I still think it's too risky. I think his minutes will be managed and they're going to be looking at the Champions League where they have a very important game and still a difficult one against Leipzig. So I would probably not do that yet. But obviously I get the logic behind it. But yeah, if you have if your gut feeling is very strong, then go for it. But I would recommend caution, that's all. Everyone that's wondering if they should sell Bruno for Alba, I think if you want Arsenal, it is Saka. Don't let the price fool you. Yeah, I agree. Aubameyang this season is very hot and cold. He can score a hat-trick against Leeds and then he can go missing for a few games. So yeah, I agree with that. Taking a -8 is worth it. Me to Bellerin, Salah to Bale, and Smith Rowe to Jota. I mean, -8s can be worth it long term, but I'm not so sure about this one. With Jota, I already said we have to wait first for, let's see if he can get some minutes under his belt. Let's see if his minutes are managed. Salah to Bale does make sense, to be honest, but he's also another one who could be rotated. And me to Bellerin, I mean, you're getting a blank Game Week 29 player, but I'm just not so sure. I mean, there is a possibility Cedric plays right back and then Tierney plays left back and Bellerin's on the bench, so I probably wouldn't do that, in my opinion, Thomas. What do you think, Dylan? Saka versus Aubameyang? Yeah, I prefer Saka. Just also gives you more money to play around with, and you can invest across your defense, in your whole team basically. So, yeah, with Aubameyang, I don't think he's worth the price. Obviously, it could be a very good differential. That's the point of it. But beyond this game week against Burnley, I'm not so sure about Aubameyang. Benching DCL instead of Bruno. Yeah, same. Time to sell Salah, coming from a Liverpool fan. I mean, if I didn't have my plans for Game Week 29, if I didn't obviously need to get more of those players in, then I probably would be looking to get rid of him. And if it was a choice between Salah or Bruno to sell, I'd probably sell Salah. Despite Liverpool's very good run up until the end of the season coming up, you don't know when the goals are going to come from at times. That's the problem with him. He's going to be very explosive at times, but he's also going to be very cold at others. That's the problem with him. Bruno or Salah out this week for Son? Well, if it's this week, Adil, it'd be Salah. Should I say Bruno? But overall, I think Bruno's the better pick. Or Benmi for a Brighton, Leeds, West Ham defender, etc. And who? I mean, I'm not sure how your team is set up, but from Brighton, you can get Dunk or Ben White. I wouldn't really look elsewhere. Obviously, there is Veltman and Burn if you want. From Leeds, yeah, Dallas or nothing really in terms of defenders. And West Ham defender, it's Soufa or Creswell. I think that's pretty basic there. Good luck, mate. Thank you, Kobe, and good luck to you as well. Should I triple captain either Diaz or Gundogan? I personally wouldn't triple captain. I think there might be better opportunities later down the line. But if you have a good feeling about it, go for it. If I had both of them, I'd still probably captain Gundogan. But yeah, in general, Diaz is more likely to play 2 games. But you never know, he might be rested in preparation for the Champions League coming up. If not, maybe the Fulham game in Game Week 27 is where a lot of City players are going to be rested, but who knows. Start 2, Sanchez, Pereira, Rudiger, Digne. Is that Davinson Sanchez? Yeah, I'd start Rudiger for sure, and I'd probably then go for Sanchez if it's the Tottenham one. Salah and Gundogan or Grealish and De Bruyne, -8. Yeah, I wouldn't take a -8, yeah, especially getting rid of Salah and Gundogan, so yeah, I wouldn't take a -8. And Grealish is probably out for this game week, so no, I wouldn't do that. Thanks for the help, Dylan. Thank you, William, and really appreciate it. And yeah, hope to see you in the next stream. Thank you for that. Forster in for McCarthy. If you don't have any other transfers to make, maybe, but I would mainly be looking at Game Week 29, especially if you don't have, 7, 8 players already. In my case, I have 7 now because I just took a -4. But yeah, I think it's a bit sideways and it could go either way. Forster could start the next one, but it could be McCarthy as well. So that's a tough one. I probably wouldn't risk it. How about moving Fernandes out? What are your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I had the option to do that. And I was actually strongly considering it. The reason why I didn't go ahead with it is because it would make my team significantly weak in 28. And to be honest, despite United facing West Ham, I would still like Bruno for that. He's one of the best captaincy options. Even if I don't captain him myself, I have that shield of owning him. And in Game Week 30 against Brighton, he has a fantastic record against Brighton. I believe he's got, 2 double-digit returns against them in 2 appearances. So that's something to consider as well, despite how good Brighton are defensively. But yeah, there is an argument to get rid of him. He might blank against City. He might even blank against West Ham. He obviously doesn't play in 29. So yeah, I think if you have plans for 29 and Bruno might have to, be sold for that, then I'd go ahead with it. Play 2 of these 3, Rafinha, Bamford, DCL. Yeah, I'd probably play Rafinha and Bamford, to be honest. Start Pope or Forster. Probably Forster just in case, but if not, yeah, Pope will come on if he doesn't play both of them. Obviously, what would not be ideal is if Forster doesn't play against Sheffield, but then he plays the second game against City. But yeah, I think just start Forster. Hi, mate. Play Lookman or DCL this game week, and also Ben Mee or Strauch, asked Sheriff. If DCL played his normal role, I would definitely go for him, but now maybe I'd edge towards Lookman. And Ben Mee or Strauch. Yeah, I'd probably go for Ben Mee, to be honest, but it's a tough one. I don't expect any of them to score. Play White or DCL, I'd probably go for White. Yeah. Target or Dunk, I have Martinez. Yeah, I'd probably go for Dunk then. White or Dallas? I'd probably go for White this week, Adam FPL. Sterling captain, not for me. The Southampton game, if he plays that, I think he could do very well, but I'm not sure about the United game for Sterling. I mean, who knows? Maybe now I've just jinxed it. But yeah, not for me. Sterling obviously can still be a good captain. He's very unpredictable this season. He can be very explosive and he can also be very cold, just like Salah. But I wouldn't go for it. Just me personally. Gundogan or Sterling captain? Gundogan for me, Josh. I already have Antonio and Soufal. Is bringing in Lingard as a Barnes replacement silly to have 3 West Ham players in my team? Not really. I think it's fine. They're a top 4 contender. You cover the defense and you cover the attack pretty well. I don't think it's too much, obviously. And the more players for 29, the merrier. That's the way I see it. Obviously, the game in 29 is pretty 50-50. It could go either way. It's pretty, I'd say, evenly matched, although West Ham have been better this season. So yeah, I'd still go for it. I triple captain Richarlison last week. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, a lot of people triple captain Kane, so you gain ground on them, definitely. Fernandes for Aubameyang. Nah, not for me. Obviously, for this week, I think Aubameyang will outscore Bruno. Obviously, on paper at least, but nah, not for me. Start Dallas or Soufal? I'd start Soufal, Jonathan. Bringing KDB, Tierney, and Lingard for a -8 for Stones, Fernandes, and Barnes? No, because you're getting rid of Stones there, and you're getting in Tierney, who is injury prone. He might be rotated for the Europa League. No, definitely not. I just keep Stones. So yeah, a -4 is fine. Get in KDB and Lingard and get rid of Fernandes and Barnes. That's perfectly fine. But Stones to Tierney? Not for me. I get the Game Week 29 thing, but no. I'd probably get someone else instead. Start Martinez and bench Johnston, right? Let's see. Who did West Brom play again? Jesus. To be fair, because they're facing Newcastle, you could arguably go for Johnston. But yeah, I think that's a tough one. I mean, both of them could do well. That's the thing. Fixture-wise, it's definitely Johnston. He's the clear winner, but Martinez is the better keeper, plays in a better team. Sterling or KDB? KDB for me there. He's more nailed. He's more consistent, gets more assists. So yeah, I'd go for KDB. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate your patience going through all the questions. No problem, Maelstrom, and thank you for joining in. Start Dunk or DCL? I'd start Dunk, Rahul, and that's why I've got Dunk in ahead of Calvert-Lewin. I'm just not sure about Digne. He's one that he might get a clean sheet. I'm looking at it now, but just, I don't know. Chelsea are very, not very good offensively, but they're a solid team, and I still expect them to score one goal at least. Barnes to Saka, Lingard or Traore with no free hit 29 or someone else. I'd probably say Lingard because for this fixture he's very good. And in 29, yeah, I just prefer him over Saka and Traore. So yeah, I'd say Lingard. Captain Gundogan or Sterling, please help. I'd go for Gundogan, Masroor. Barnes to Mount or Lingard? I'd say Lingard because he has that fixture in 29, but yeah, I think Mount's actually a good one. From Chelsea attack, I said this before, even before obviously he's started doing well. From Chelsea attack, he's the only one I'd consider or say worth going for because he's pretty nailed, and as a midfielder, he's the best option there. But yeah, I still prefer Lingard. What are the main players to target for Game Week 29? Good question. So in my opinion, if you don't have him already, Rafinha, and that's why I'm definitely getting him in. Harry Kane, Son, Antonio, Lingard, yeah. I think a Brighton defender, that's why I got Lewis Duncan. I didn't take a -4 for this week. I don't expect him to do that well against Leicester, but it's mainly for that Newcastle game. Brighton have a very good record against Newcastle, including early in the season when they won 3-0, I think, and Dunk has gotten bonus points in most of those games, so hopefully more of the same continues there. He could be a very good differential for that week, so I'd say a Lewis Dunk or a Ben White, fantastic. I wouldn't say must own, but they're very good differentials who can boost you up the rank in Game Week 29, so I would definitely go for them. Looking elsewhere, I think from Arsenal, we'd probably look at Saka. Let's look at the fixtures again just to kind of refresh in our minds. From Fulham, I'll be honest, obviously they have been decent recently, but you would expect Leeds to score. So yeah, having the likes of Dallas, Rafinha and Bamford, I think those are the best assets from that game. But from Fulham, you could still arguably go for maybe an Anderson from defence, although I don't expect a clean sheet. I'd say Lookman, actually, funnily enough. I think if Fulham do score, it'd be probably him involved. And then, yeah, the Brighton game, yeah, it has to be Sanchez in goal or Dunk or Ben White, I think. I'm not too convinced with their attack. That's why I think the defence is best. And then, yeah, from Spurs, it's, yeah, your Reguilon, if you think he's going to start. Son, Kane, Bale, they're quite obvious. And then from Villa, if Grealish is fit, definitely go for him. And Martinez. So, yeah, that's the way I see it. West Ham Arsenal's 50-50, but still, I think Saka from Arsenal's enough. And then a West Ham defender, Lingard and Antonio, I think those are your best bets. So hopefully that answers your question, and you have plenty of ideas for Game Week 29 and who you can get in. This may sound odd, but Robertson, could he be a captaincy option? Liverpool need a home win against Fulham, who struggled to score, and recently we've been seeing Robertson making his attacking runs and crossing the ball more. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, sometimes being different like that is better than going with the crowd. I mean, if you look at the last 10 game weeks or something, the most heavily captained player has blanked, basically, most times. Obviously, there's a few exceptions, but I'm not sure, though, because you say that Liverpool need a win, but they needed to win against Everton. They needed to win against Chelsea and in the other games, and they haven't. So I'm not sure. I just don't back Liverpool, and they still concede stupid goals at times. Fulham aren't that good. They have improved, but they're still not that great, and they could still do something against Liverpool. So yeah, Robertson might get a clean sheet, but I'm not sure. I mean, go for it if you really back it, but not for me. Captain Cancelo or Diaz? I have no Man City attacker. I'd go for Cancelo. I think he's more likely to get something else other than a clean sheet, but that could go either way. Sterling for KDB, is it worth it for a -4? For a -4, I'm not sure. I mean, if it was a straight swap, I'd say definitely. -4 is what kind of makes me question it, but you know what? I think KDB is a better long-term asset. If you don't have your wildcard and stuff like that, yeah, I'd just probably go for it. But -4, who knows? James Ward-Prowse for this week? Definitely not, Peter. I've said this time and time again. Obviously, he can do well if he gets some free kicks from good positions or people convert from his crosses from corners, then fair enough. But not for me. I just don't trust Southampton at all. How are we all transferring in Lingard into our teams? Yeah, I know, right? The main reason I've got him in, for example, I can't speak for everyone else, but the fixture against Leeds is just screams out to me for points. Obviously, I could be wrong. And then Game Week 29, he has that fixture. He loves playing against Arsenal. And if not, hopefully I jinx him for that. So, that's the way I see it. It's a win-win for me. Obviously, the Game Week 28 fixture, a lot of people don't realise, but he doesn't play against United. He can't play because of the rules. So, yeah. It's another one, how he's the most transferred in player. He was, 4% owned before this week, and now he's basically doubled up in ownership. If I do get Antonio, would you bench Saka, Rafinha, or Bamford for him this week? Good question. I'd probably bench... That's a tough one. Probably Saka, but you never know. Saka could do something. Bruno and Stones out for KDB and target for a -4, or roll the transfer. Yeah, just all of these things with Stones out for a -4 and stuff, not for me. But obviously getting KDB in and captaining him, that looks very good. I like that. Target's a good option for 29, so I get those moves. You know what? I'd say go for it, but I'm not sure about taking Stones out for a -4. And Bruno, you'd probably want him for Game Week 28 or 30. Keane or Dunk? Dunk for me, tips for FPL. Should I captain KDB or Gundogan? I answered your question already, Veer, and I said go for KDB if you have him, but maybe Gundogan will start more minutes, or play more minutes, should I say. Who should I bench from Saka, Bamford, or Rudiger for this game week? Trent and Robertson worth buying after 31 based on their fixtures? Alright, so for your first question, Mustafa, I'd probably bench Saka, oddly enough. And for your second question, I would wait. If Liverpool show improvement, if they start keeping more clean sheets, and translate their Champions League form into the Premier League, then sure, I'd say, they're definitely worth considering, but there's no point just going for them based on their previous seasons and reputation and fixtures, purely that. Because if they just don't deliver and they struggle against anyone at home, then there's no point. So I'd wait and see for a resurgence in form, consistency. So basically from now up until Game Week 31, and if not, then I just forget about them. Thoughts on adding Bale or Pepe as differentials? Yeah, they look good. Pepe actually looks pretty good, but he's going to be rotated a lot. Just a warning there. Unless, he basically plays his weaker team in the Premier League and Pepe forms part of that. I don't know how Arteta's going to think about that, but Pepe is very, very explosive. He's a quality player, obviously. He just needs to get that consistency in. And Bale, I really like Bale for this game week and also for Game Week 29. I prefer Bale out of the two, but yeah, they're both pretty good, to be honest. Is Mason Mount a good replacement for Barnes? Definitely Rainbringer. He's another one, actually, that I probably didn't mention. So Saka, Rafinha, Lingard, and Mount. The main reason I mentioned the other three is because they have a fixture in 29, but Mason Mount also fits the bill, definitely. Good suggestion. Do you know much about the Forster and McCarthy situation at Southampton now? I'll be honest, Zucchi, I don't. That's the reason why when someone says, should I do a switch from one of them to the other, I'd say no, because no one knows at the moment. McCarthy might just get his spot back in the next game. I don't know. I think Southampton are a bit better when Forster plays, or at least more solid defensively. They look a bit more assured, but I don't know about that one. It's a tough one. I'd probably start Forster just in case. It'd be a bit odd if Forster starts one game, McCarthy starts the other. And that Sheffield fixture would be pretty good if Forster starts, so I'd start him. But yeah, you just have to hope that he doesn't play the City game and misses out on the Sheffield game. Zaha back for Palace, good option. I mean, not for me. Obviously, Zaha from Palace, he's probably the standout, no doubt about it. But they don't even have a fixture in 29, do they? No, they don't. And he's just come back. Palace are pretty awful. They do play Spurs now. I'm not sure about that. I'd wait and see. When the fixtures kind of turn and when he shows a bit of form and consistency, then I'd go in for him. But I think there are just too many options in midfield right now, especially for 29, like Lingard and Rafinha, just, to go for Zaha. Play Target or Dallas? I'd go for Target, Izad. Everyone says, what do you think of this, Dylan? But no one asks, how is Dylan? Just a critic always, being how you are. Thank you, Dylan. Always helpful. Hope you have a good weekend and another good game week. Thank you, Mickey, and all the best to you as well. Hopefully another green arrow. Play Lingard or Rafinha? I'd play Lingard, but to be honest, Mohammed, I'd try to start both of them. Hi, who should I take out from my midfield? To be honest, Chelsea Blues, I don't know who you have in your midfield. You just put it further down below. My midfield, Soucek, Salah, Gundogan, Bruno, Barnes to bring Son, Lingard. Yeah, I'd take Soucek out, definitely. From the five. And to be fair, Barnes is injured. So if you can afford it, Barnes and Soucek out for Son and Lingard, definitely. Son, Kane, Salah or Diaz captain this week? In terms of single game week punts, or should I say captains, I think Son or Kane are the standouts. I'd probably go for Diaz. Yeah, I'd probably go for Diaz, but it's a tough one. You could captain any of them. Not sure about Salah right now, but maybe whenever everyone doubts him and stuff like that, he will start producing again. But yeah, I'd probably go for Diaz. Good morning, Dylan. Is it worth getting KDB for Bruno and putting the captaincy on him? Asked Eddie. I think so. I definitely think so. And if I was already well set for 29 or I had a free hit to kind of fall back on, I would actually consider doing that. But also when you have triple City, it makes it difficult. But yeah, in your situation, I think that makes perfect sense. Triple Spurs attacks, asked Lil Uzi. I think double's enough. Son and Kane. And if not, if you want to go a bit different, you could just go for Bale instead of one of them. I think triple Spurs attack is a bit too much. I mean, they played all their 4 main attackers against Fulham and they struggled. They got outplayed. They were lucky to win the game. They were lucky to score. They were lucky not to concede. Spurs are a very hot and cold team, so I wouldn't triple up on their attack. Obviously, it is a differential, and you cover Spurs' goals pretty much and their attack very well there, but I'm not sure about that. Will any Arsenal be on the spotlight this game week? I think maybe Aubameyang, Jimmy, and if not, you could say Saka or a Tierney, but yeah, I think Aubameyang's the one that kind of, you'd expect to do well if he starts. Partha says, mate, who to captain, Kane or Gundogan? I'd go for Gundogan, but if Gundogan doesn't play in the Southampton game, for example, or he misses one of the games, then I think Kane will outscore him over one game. But if Gundogan has the extra one, then I'd just go for him. Should I take a hit for transferring DCL out with Antonio Watkins in? It makes sense. I mean, I'm not sure how your plans are for 29. I don't know how your team is set up there, but I think a -4 from DCL to Antonio makes sense. The only risk with that is if a fixture, or should I say a double game week for Everton is confirmed for game week 28 in just a few days' time. So that's the only thing I would say. Pepe, a good shout to play all 3 league games if we rotate in good form. If not, an Arsenal mid or Lingard. I think I'm benching Barnes for a week. Yeah, Marco, I just go for Lingard, and I don't think Pepe will start all 3 league games. The next 3 league games, I don't think so. I think he'll maybe start 1 or 2 of them. I don't think 3. That's the way I see it. Start Soucek over DCL. Because of Leeds' vulnerability from set pieces, I would probably go for Soucek, but he hasn't produced in a long time. I'd get rid of him probably soon anyway. With Soucek, you never know, but I'd start him this week. Start DCL, Watkins, Rafinha. I'd start Rafinha, Matteo. I captain Salah, even though I have Gundogan in my team, just a gut feeling. I hope it pays off. Yeah, that's what it's all about, and going against the crowd, especially in a week like this where everyone's captaining Gundogan, it seems, probably a good thing. As I already said, if I had Kevin De Bruyne, if I was completely convinced that Cancelo would start both games, I'd go for one of them. But, I think Gundogan will start both, and that's why I'm captaining him. Dylan, oh, Jesus, voice crack. Dallas or Soufal? I have 2 attackers from Leeds already and no West Ham players, so please tell me. I'd start Soufal. I don't like these kind of conflicts, double attack versus a defender or vice versa. But I think Soufal's more likely to get a clean sheet. He could even get an attack in return. With Dallas, you're mainly relying on attacking returns. You never know, though. Leeds they can be very good on their day, and they could even beat West Ham. But then they could also maybe concede 3 or 4. So I'd just go for Soufal. I think he's a bit more safe. Dallas is obviously the more exciting one. That's the way I see it. FM asks, Gundogan or KDB captain? If I had him, I'd probably go for KDB. However, there is the question mark of whether he will start both games. Just because he's recently come back from injury, he just played 2 games in a row. But De Bruyne's the most nailed City attacker, so I'd probably go for him. Should I remove Bruno in for this week for Mount? I personally wouldn't, but Mount is one of the best options in midfield around this price, especially for a Harvey Barnes replacement. But if I'm getting rid of Bruno, I'd probably be looking to get a 29 player in, whether it's Bale, Son, Lingard or Rafinha. That's just the way I see it. Triple captain KDB. There's a shout for that, Ismail, but I probably wouldn't. Gundogan or Kane captain? Gundogan for me, Sange. Currently thinking Bruno to Bale, Barnes to Mount, Lingard and Adams, DCL to Kane or Antonio, all for a -8. Nah, I wouldn't take a -8. I'd try to reduce it to a -4. Obviously, I get why you do that. But yeah, I'd try to reduce it to a -4. Chelsea Blue says, is it a good idea to bring KDB in for Bruno and take a hit and give him triple captaincy? I think it could be. I think there might be better triple captaincies down the road. I have said this a lot of times this season. Even with Kane, I mean, I didn't actually say there will be better triple captaincies, but I said there will be more opportunities. I'm not sure about that. As in, getting rid of Bruno for KDB is perfectly fine, and even triple captaining him, but I'm not sure if it will definitely work. Do you know what I mean? So it's a good idea, definitely. But I wouldn't go ahead with it. That's just what I'm saying. Lingard in for Barnes for a -4. That's what I did, Zucci. To be honest, it does make sense, especially with how your team is structured for 29. Yeah, I think it could be worth it. Maybe it won't pay off this week, but over the long run it will. Bruno out for a -4 for Lingard, or too risky? Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people are saying stuff like that. Yeah, I guess. I think it looks pretty good. You would expect Lingard to outscore Bruno. Will he outscore him by more than 4 points? Probably. I mean, I wouldn't say probably not, but you never know. Everything's a risk. Bruno could do well against City, but yeah, I think if there's ever a time to get rid of Bruno, it's now. You'd probably want him from game week 30 up until 38. Triple captain KDB or Gundogan, the same as my captaincy decision. I'd say KDB, but it's up to you. Go with your gut. Is Gundogan captaincy a trap? Is Cancelo a better option? The thing is, Sam, like I said, I would rather captain Cancelo. The reason why I'm going with Gundogan is because I think he's more likely to start both games. I mean, I don't know. It's very hard to predict Pep. But yeah, that's the reason why I've done that. And who knows what I'm doing. Bench 1, DCL, Rafinha, Fernandes. I'd bench DCL, Ali. Antonio, Lingard, Saka, Bamford, Dallas, Shaw. Choose 3 for this game week. Definitely Antonio. I'd go for Lingard and probably Bamford. Show your bench. Yeah, here's my bench once again, Oliver. Bissaka or Burn? I'd start Burn. My transfers, Maddison to Lingard and Bruno to KDB. Thoughts? That looks pretty good, Philip. Yeah, they look good. They make sense as well. Maddison might come back soon, but yeah, you get an extra 29 player. You get KDB. Great captaincy option this week. Yeah, I think I like that. Start DCL Chelsea defender, ask Virgil van Diaz. Very good name. I'd start Rudiger or Chelsea defender. I keep saying Rudiger because I actually want him in my team, but yeah, Chelsea defender. What's your opinion on De Bruyne captain? I think he's a good captaincy option this week. If I had him, I would go for him. I'm not that confident in him to triple captain him. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But I would captain him if I had him, definitely. He's a good option. Kane or Gundogan captain, I'd go for Gundogan. Will there be UCL stream? There will be if people want it. So I'll be uploading a UCL fantasy video this weekend or on Monday. And depending on the reception and the feedback, then there may be a deadline stream on Tuesday, as there has been in the last couple of game weeks. Triple captain KDB or Gundogan, yeah, no need to spam the chat. I answered your question, and yeah. Antonio in for DCL, Thoughts or Barnes out for Lingard? Don't want to take a hit. I'd say Barnes to Lingard makes more sense. I think Antonio might outscore Lingard this week, but I just think it makes more sense to do that. Don't know why I did that. My bad. Yeah, I think YouTube just bugged out there. I meant to put someone else on timeout. Anyways, -4 for Bruno, for Son and Soucek for Lingard building up to Game Week 29, or should I focus on building more players instead of swapping West Ham players for West Ham? Yeah, focus on 29 and build more players there. I wouldn't do sideways moves in my opinion. I get what you mean. Start Wan-Bissaka or Dallas? I'd start Dallas, but to be honest, Wan-Bissaka, oddly enough, is probably a bit more likely to get a clean sheet. Martinez or Forster in goal? I'd go for Forster, and if he doesn't start, Martinez comes on. Simple as, Gary. Start DCL Chelsea defender? Yeah, I answered that. Don't spam the chat. Should I play me or Soufal? I'd play Soufal, Kurt. Should I start DCL or Soufal? Soufal for me, Suvam. Good morning. Captain Sterling or Gundogan? I'd captain Gundogan, but if you want to go different, Harry, then I'd probably go for Sterling, but yeah, Gundogan for me. Play Burn or Dallas? Burn, Pava. Jota for Barnes is a great move. Yeah, it could be, and you could be ahead of the curve. The reason why I say I would be cautious is because his minutes might be managed, and there's the Champions League also. Would you start Creswell or Diaz? Definitely Creswell, Jams, definitely. Lookman, Lingard or Saka in for Barnes with my free transfer. Planning ahead for Game Week 29. Lingard for me, Joshua. Start El Mohammadi or Thomas? I'd probably start El Mohammadi. Thank you, FM. Start Johnston or Martinez? If I had to pick one, I'd maybe go for Johnston, and he's a bit more of a differential. Hi, Dylan. DCO on Barnes to Son and Antonio for a -4. Also play Forster over Martinez. I just start Forster. I keep saying, I'm so used to saying Martinez, but yeah. Start Forster, and if he doesn't play, Martinez comes on. And DCL on Barnes to Son and Antonio for a -4. To be honest, that makes sense. I like that hit. Yeah, I'd go for it. DCL or Rafinha? Rafinha for this week. Lingard or Mount for this game week? Lingard for this week. Dallas or me? I'd probably start Dallas. Will Bale start since Mourinho's comments lately? He might be benched in... you know what? The way I'm looking at it, I think he might be benched against Palace. There's a possibility he might be benched or at least rested or, not playing the 490. And he'll definitely start against Arsenal. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. Dallas or Creswell? Yeah, Creswell. Do not spam the chat. Hopefully, it's not the same person. Lookman or DCL? I'd probably start Lookman, actually. Should I start Digne or Dallas? I'd probably go for Dallas, but there's not much. Thoughts on bringing Richarlison next week? It does make sense, and if they do have a double in 28, I'd probably go ahead with it. Hi, my name is Dylan, and I just can't believe... Oh, no. Yeah, I've seen those types of things, Siang. Yeah, I'm not going to fall for that bait. Yeah, I see AFTV getting it all the time. Soufal or Dallas? Who should I start? I'd start Soufal. Play Rudiger, DCL, or Rafinha? I would start Rafinha, and to be honest, I'd probably start Rudiger too. Yeah, Jams, no need to spam the chat. I already answered your question. Saka or Lingard? Lingard for me, Seth. Stones for Rudiger? I would just keep Stones for now and then get Rudiger in later. Hey Dylan, can't decide on who to start between Dallas, me or Creswell. Help. I'd say Creswell, but back your gut on that one, Peter. My transfers are Maddison to Son and Barnes to Lingard. Yeah, I answered your question, Pogobi, and I said they're pretty good transfers. I'm pretty sure you said they were for a hit, but still looks good. Bench Calvert-Lewin or Lingard? I'd bench Calvert-Lewin. Who to bring in for Rashford? Lingard, Bale, or someone else? Yeah, I'd go for Lingard in my opinion. Triple captain this week or save it for later? When? I'd save it for later, Seth. And when? Another double game week. It could be game week 32, 35, something like that. The fixtures aren't confirmed yet, so I couldn't tell you for sure, but there will be further double game weeks. For example, Spurs will have another one, so triple captaining Son or Kane makes perfect sense. Start Watkins or Rafinha? I would start Rafinha, Mohamed. Shall I have Soufal or Dallas in my defence? I would start Soufal, Arsenal's number one. Start Tarkowski versus Arsenal or Digne versus Chelsea? I think Tarkowski's more likely to get a clean sheet. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably start... Damn it, man. If it wasn't Chelsea away, I don't know. I'd probably start Tarkowski, but I'm not sure about that one. Meslier or Pickford? I'd probably start Meslier, but I don't expect any of them to do well. What are your rank on overall points? Kurt, they're all on screen right now. If you see at the top, my overall rank is 96,000 in the world. And my overall points is 1,692. Rafinha or Bamford? I'd probably just start Rafinha if you had to pick one because he's on all set pieces. He's a differential and he's been more consistent. What's the probability of Everton's double game week in 28? Well, according to Ben Krelling, I think the chances now are like 10%. Who knows though? I mean, I have no idea. But basically, if there's not an announcement before Wednesday, then it's probably not happening and it could be moved to game week 30. Start Martinez or Sanchez? Good question. I'd probably start Martinez. Bamford or Watkins? I would start Bamford, Pritin. Target or Soufal? I would start Target, Safwan. Choose one from Bamford, DCL or Lowton? Bamford, definitely. Just wanted to say good luck to everyone this game week, especially those without Bruno or Salah. I'm definitely not as brave to give up Bruno. Yeah, I mean... It just makes sense to get rid of Bruno right now. He blanks against the top six. United have a very defensive approach. Man City have a great defence. So it has all the signs of a 0-0 or a 1-0, 2-0 win for City, something like that. But you never know. I think going without Salah isn't that brave now. But yeah, he could always be explosive. You never know. Thanks. I can't decide either. I'm leaning towards Tarkowski. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. You know, a lot of these decisions are 50-50. That's why people ask them. And sometimes a second opinion can help. Hopefully you make the right one with whatever you do. Thanks, Dylan. Was wondering if there's a particularly good time to wildcard after Game Week 30. Definitely, Peter. There's Game Week 31, 32, or even 33. The reasons why I say that is because in Game Weeks 31 and 32, if you take a look at the fixtures, and let's actually have a look at it quickly, there's a big fixture swing in 31, for example. So you look at Leeds, they have Man City in 31, and then in 32, I'm pretty sure they have Liverpool. No, Man United. Jesus. Yeah. Oh, that's Game Week 32. 32, they have Liverpool. Oh, I don't know why it skipped twice there. But yeah, look. I mean, wow. They have City, Liverpool, and United in a row. Obviously, Liverpool are a bit off form, so they're probably the easiest right now, depending on how things go. But yeah, there's a lot of fixture swings in 31, so you could wildcard there. If not, 32 is another opportunity to wildcard. There's still, fixture swings from the week beforehand. And the reason why I say 33 is because Man City and Spurs blank because of the Carabao Cup final. So it's a good opportunity to wildcard maybe away from them. You can start bringing them in from game weeks 34 onwards. Obviously, it's not ideal. If you have your free hit, my opinion, I would free hit in game week 33. And you can literally just have some differentials there. And obviously, you can just build a team without City and Spurs players to worry about. You can focus all your money on your starting 11. But yeah, still a good opportunity to wildcard also. I'd probably say, yeah, game week 31 or 32 is when I'm most likely going to wildcard. The reason why I wouldn't wildcard probably in 30 is because, for example, you look at Leeds, they have a good fixture against Sheffield. You'd want him for that. You wouldn't want to, transfer out free Leeds players or something like that. So yeah, I'd say game week 31, 32 or 33 to wildcard. And if you have your free hit, 33 is a great opportunity. Dyer out for Reguilon. It is a bit of a sideways move, but I mean, Dyer has been in and out of the team. I'd go for it, but Reguilon is also subject to rotation, but also obviously very explosive on his day. So, yeah. Start Martinez on McCarthy. I'd start McCarthy just in case he starts those games, and if not, Martinez comes in. I must be blind or something. I completely missed that top banner. Yeah, I've had it for a few weeks now, but yeah, I mean, to be fair, most people just look at the team and they're like, oh, yeah. Why do you have Bruno starting and stuff like that? Or why do you have Lewis Dunk? Diagne or DCL? To be honest, for this week, I'd say Diagne. Hopefully I said his name right. And actually, yeah, looking at a bit of stats, the reason why I would say Diagne, if we look at expected goal involvements and even expected goals, he is top of all strikers over the last 4 game weeks. So, and also Newcastle at home. I think that's a good fixture. So yeah, I'd go for him. I'd go for Diagne. How do you get the fixtures underneath the players? It's a Google Chrome extension called Better FPL. There's also another one called FPL Tools. So all you have to literally do on Google is just search it, Better FPL, and then you click Add to Google Chrome, and then it basically just automatically does it when you refresh the site. So that's literally it, and you can customize what you can have. You can have these, fixture difficulty, color schemes. You can have, obviously, you can change your captain or vice captaincy without clicking on other menus and stuff. You can see projected points and stuff like that. And if you actually looked at projected points, Gundogan has the highest, but who knows what's going to happen there. Bench Fernandes this week and bring on Rafinha. I mean, I don't know about the rest of your team, Seth, but yeah, it makes sense. I would start Rafinha, but yeah, it's always a risk with Bruno. Just be wary of that. What is your prediction on Chelsea-Everton? If I'm being honest, I think it will be like a 1 or 2-0 Chelsea. Who knows though? Everton could make things difficult. It could be a draw. Even Everton could sneak something. But I don't see Everton scoring 2 or more goals, basically. I think if they do win, it'll be like a 1-0 or something. But yeah, it's going to be a very tight game, I think. Both teams will be rather defensive. It could even be a 0-0, I mean, maybe having Dini on the bench, third bench is not a good idea. You know what? I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to probably do this in case, but yeah. And actually, one thing I was considering, was I going to do a late captaincy change? I don't know. I think I'll just stick to Gundogan. Calvert-Lewin I'd probably bench. Ah, my God, this is a tough one. I mean, yeah. Who knows? It depends on how Ancelotti sets up. Keep DCL or transfer him out for Richarlison or Watkins. I mean, Craig, if you don't have anything else to do with your team, especially in preparation for 29, then I think Richarlison's a good one, especially if he has a double in 28. Pick 2, Fernandes, Soufal, Bamford and Rafinha. I currently have Bamford and Rafinha starting. Yeah, that makes sense. I'd probably go for them 2 as well. And if not, Soufal could do well, but yeah. Transferred out Cancelo, Sterling and Fernandes for Alderweireld, KDB and Mahrez, -8. How bad is that going to work out? Who knows, PJAB. I probably would have settled with a -4. I would have kept Cancelo. Transferred out Cancelo, Sterling and Fernandes for... Yeah, I would have kept Cancelo and probably then got in KDB for Fernandes, but who knows? Maybe getting in Mahrez and Alderweireld as a masterstroke. Play Watkins or Rudiger, asked Genius Gamer. I would start Rudiger. Thanks for the detailed answers, Dylan. Appreciate all the good content. Thank you, Peter, and thank you for tuning in. What should I do in 29 since I don't have my free hit anymore? Just literally all your free transfers from now, even maybe a -4 or -8 along the way, dedicated to building a team for 29. That's literally all you can do. And then after that, obviously the benefit of having a wildcard is you can wildcard out of that team. So for example, if you have triple leads going into game week 31 when they face the likes of Man City and then after that they face Liverpool and United or something like that, you can just wildcard out of them. So yeah, I would just focus on making free transfers. Who should I put as captain? I mean, to be honest, I don't know who you have as your captain. Sub for sub. Nice one, Dylan. Thank you, Gary. Sufal or Dallas or Soucek? I'd probably start Soucek, TC27. Who should I start, Dallas or Soucek, as I brought Lingard in for Barnes? I'd probably start Soucek because of Leeds' vulnerability from set pieces. But then again, people said that about West Brom in Game Week 19 and then Soucek blanked. Who knows? Time's almost up, guys. Lock in your teams. Yeah, definitely, Kurt. We're pretty much, it's done. It's done. The deadline has passed and hopefully things go well. Captain Son or Gundogan? Gundogan for me. I am Freeze Music. Is Vardy a great option this game week? Well, to be honest, I think he's a good option because he's got a great record against Brighton, and if Leicester do score, it's going to be Vardy, I think. Put Cancelo captain. Man United tried to keep clean sheets against big teams, and Southampton, Man City would probably be getting a clean sheet. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, sub for sub. If I was, sure of Cancelo starting both games, I'd probably start captain him, but because I'm not sure about that, and I think Gundogan, because of his recent rest, he's a bit more likely to start both games. That's why I've gone for him. But yeah, it could go either way. Maguire or me? I'd start me this week. Thanks, Dylan. Good luck, everyone. Good luck to Chelsea Blues. And yeah, hopefully we do well. Cheers for the great advice, Dylan. Thank you, Kobe, for joining in once again. I captained Kane then, even though I had Gundogan. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. In terms of recent records against Palace, I think Son has the best record. But Kane still has an okay record against Palace. It's pretty decent. So yeah, he could do something. And yeah, I think having Son and Kane, you pretty much just cover Spurs' attack pretty well over the next few. And I think they can get plenty of points. So yeah, going into Game Week 29, I'll be looking to get Kane in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is on my bench currently. And I will be getting rid of Salah probably for Rafinha. But that's looking to 29. I'll probably aim to not make a transfer in 28, just roll that transfer. And in 29, make those 2 free transfers I discussed. That is the plan right now. And hopefully all of my other Game Week 29 players remain injury-free and don't get suspended. Yeah, thank you, Kobe. I captain Diaz, hope it works out. Yeah, if he starts both games, I think he's a great option, definitely. No doubt about it. But we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But thank you everyone who has joined in. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And it costs nothing. Turn on notifications if you do subscribe. And share this video around with anyone who loves FPL. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can catch me on there. Also, you can send me your questions there as well. And also, whenever I do community posts or upload videos or do live streams, I'll answer your questions there too. So thank you for tuning in. And if there are any last questions, then I will be answering them, of course. Thank you, Genius Gamer. Appreciate you being here. Think Cancelo will play both this game week as Walker played both last game week, but you never know with Pep. Yeah, true. That's a good point, El Padrino. And yeah, with Pep, who knows? I mean, if I knew, that would be a gift from God, really. If I knew what Pep was thinking in terms of his lineup, I mean, what an advantage you'd have. You'd know exactly what to do at times. Lloris is also a good option as a captaincy this week. I'm not sure about captaincy option this week, but in a double, captaining a keeper makes more sense. But I'm not sure about a single game week against Palace. But yeah, I mean, fair enough. I get your point. Best of luck, everyone. Thank you, Karan, and thank you everyone who has joined in. Really appreciate it. And there will be more live streams. I'll be aiming to do a UCL fantasy video either this weekend or on Monday, and maybe a live stream as well on the Tuesday. And then the usual team selection videos, chip strategies and stuff like that. Maybe even different types of videos like best differentials for all of you, especially looking ahead to Game Week 29. And then, yeah, a lot of you will actually be looking to free hit in 29. So there could be a best free hit team for Game Week 29 video coming out as well. But as I said before, kind of just my concluding thoughts, if you do have your free hit still, I would look at Game Week 33. I think that's a great opportunity to be aggressive and to gain a lot of points from a free hit. But thank you for watching this video. And yeah, hope to see you in the next few. And I'll see you next time.